Yo, guys, sorry for the late stream. We're getting started here in a couple minutes, but something just came up. So let me go handle this real quick, but we're going to get started here in about 5 minutes or so. So thanks for hanging in, guys. Just hang around for a minute, and I will be right back. Okay. So sorry about that, guys. Something came up as soon as I clicked the stream button. Let me know how my volume is in the chat, though. And hopefully you guys are having a good night here. I'll chop it up for later, too. I'll make sure that intro is cut out. Okay. Man, it's been a weird week of trading, man. Bybit account, I've put a couple grand in here to kind of revenge trade what I did on my breakout account, and I damn near doubled the account. So the revenge trading has been going great, but the breakout account really got hammered, guys. Just trying to catch that weekly leap, attempt after attempt, not really locking in profits. And so my breakout account was kind of used as cannon fodder for the main account. So it's been fine trading just because of the overall approach I have of having multiple accounts and many redundancies and many attempts. And so, I'm aiming for this blob of volume up here, and I'm just trying to catch these lows at the onset of the new weekly session. So it took me a couple tries, but once I got myself into this low right here, that pretty much redeemed everything. Came all the way up to this descending 5 MA and started looking iffy. So and then I had to sleep, man. I slept all day. So waking up to this dumpage, not gonna lie, I'm a little surprised by this dumpage, but also not surprised because we are in a 5-day SMA downtrend. There's a lot of things that are kind of just macro bearish right now. Zooming out a little bit on Bitcoin, you guys can see that we have a bull run slaying blue wave type path. This is an insanely bearish momentum wave on the monthly for Bitcoin. The 2-week shows a little bit of indecision up here in these current ranges, but also a red dot there too. And on just the weekly, we did just get a doji candle. Looking in the chat real quick, got some of our favorite people in the house: MJ, Silosis, Arc Signal, Jelly Bean, Mr. Turd, Mr. Black Sea, Miss Julia. Love to have you guys in. Thanks for tuning in so late. Sorry for starting the stream a little bit late. One coin I've been absolutely hammering is Aster. Waking up from my nap to see it losing the 2 daily VWAPs was a little bit of a bummer. So I'm not touching this currently, but I was hopeful for like a 250 Aster or a $3 Aster, because I had pulled this fib right here, and we were playing with the idea of a breakout retest of this critical region right here. And if this had broken out, we would have potentially gotten $3 Aster, or at least 250. I was hoping for 250, a nice psychological level. So waking up from my nap, man, that's a little bit of a bummer. But the trading on Aster was great. You guys can see that leapfrog, even though there's not much data here. MJ asked, what is Aster? It's a DEX. It's like a new DEX, like Hyperliquid, but it's backed by CZ from Binance. So it's the Chinese sandworm, Chinese sandworm DEX. It could be the next darling in the market, as Black Sea puts it, but you guys can see that leapfrog. Even though we don't have much data, the VWAP still provides a guide. We pump here, and you can see how this formation at it's not the all-time high VWAP, but I don't even know what you would call this. It's just a lifetime VWAP. Once we pull back into that lifetime VWAP, you start loading up your longs. We were looking really good down there. But right now it just had a bearish daily leap. We are under 2 daily VWAPs. You kind of got to wait for this to resolve itself before you want to long again. If anything, a retest of the week today, something deeper down here might be necessary. If you pull a fib, a simple week to date or previous week to date test would coincide with your golden pocket. But what's good about Aster having a couple days now of price action is our 5-day MA has clicked online, and you can see it is pretty much an uptrend. So I have a good feeling about Aster. I think if it can come down into these week to dates, it's probably going to find a low. But I hope your guys' night is going good. D Crypto, thanks for popping in, man. Look at my exit on Aster, by the way, guys. Had a really nice sell there right at the top. As soon as I saw that momentum Heiken-Ashi candle, I was out of that shit. Saved myself a lot of trouble there. But the name of the stream is called BTC Dominance is Trending, just because I couldn't think of anything else. But when I look at Bitcoin dominance, this is a little bit spooky for alt season, because Bitcoin dominance is now under 2 years year to date. It's in a really good value area, and it's very far away from a lot of VWAPs that we would assume that going into Q4 we would want to hit. This music is like, man, it's tripping me out. I know it's Silent Hill, but it's like extra trippy right now. I feel like my desktop sound is like super loud. It's like hard to focus. I'll just turn off the music, man. I can't do this right now. Screw this shit, man. But yeah, Bitcoin dominance is looking like it's got a monthly leapfrog cooking. So it at least wants to go up to that previous month to date VWAP. But I think it's got a lot more than that, because, man, we're about to ride into Q4. So that means the Q3 VWAP is attractive. That means that last year's Q4 is attractive. And the hell, we never even got a Q2 test. Pretty much when, I mean, we did back here, like when Q3 began, we immediately got a Q2 test. So that was, you know, that was satiated there. But still, when I look at this chart, I just see a very bottomed out chart. Like, it looks like how it was here. Just very, very, very bottomed out. I know people have been bearish on it, you know, because the last couple candles have been red on the monthly. Looks like your weekly Heiken-Ashi starting to finally click back online. Looks like weekly trigger wave here. That's pretty bullish, guys. We've got a momentum desert to the downside. So see the lack of momentum blobs underneath the 0 line. That means it's a very bullish environment. And so getting your first trigger wave in this type of uptrend, I believe, is very bullish. This is a very obvious hidden bull div here with lows that trend up and then oscillators that trend down. So, while this could continue to break down, it's a little bit worrisome for altcoins. Would you guys agree? Let me know in the chat if you guys agree. This is an interesting signal for the altcoins. Ethereum on the monthly still has a lot of candle momentum, Ikenashi going for it on the monthly, but on the 2-week and weekly, you can see that slowing. On the daily's painted a bad picture for ETH for quite a while now, with this declining wave action here, money flow pouring out. I'm open to your guys' opinions in the chat, man. It's kind of a strange price action to wake up to, man. The downtrend being affirmed, not getting these bullish weekly leaps in the time frame that we usually expect. So it's a sketchy week to be longing. When I look at Bitcoin on these smaller time frames, let's take a more small time frame approach here. It's a shame that Bitcoin doesn't bust out of that 5-day MA and get that week-to-date test right there. But that's a testament to the 5 MA trend. Sometimes that 5-day trend carries the price more so than the volume from these VWAPs. Stephen Gates Jr. says, looking like a late Q4 for one last rally if it happens. Yeah, I agree that when we look at Bitcoin on these kind of larger time frames, what we see is money flow declining. But as the money flow dies, usually you do get that divergent final wave, you know, like that wave that just doesn't quite hit the 60 line, but still price can still go higher, like divergent. We are very, very divergent. Bitcoin on the daily here. Now, so what we have here, guys, is multiple days underneath the monthly VWAP. So it's kind of somewhat affirmed that the month is now a bearish month. We're under the Q3 VWAP, so it's now officially a bearish quarter. So we're in a bearish environment. When you long, when you're going for the bearish weekly leap, you're going against a 5-day SMA downtrend. So for me personally, once we approach this region here, this 5-day SMA trend, that's definitely a region to get very cautious and start locking things in. You guys saw I locked in some profits on this Aster coin. Even though I'm hopeful on it, you got to lock it in because these gains are crazy, man. This coin is going absolutely stupid. This move right here is like 90%, and they offer good leverage on this on Bybit. Let's take a look at XRP real quick, because XRP, I had a sneaking suspicion that XRP would do well with its weekly leap, and I was right. And as this move was unfolding, on my watch list here on the right, there was 2 coins that were really moving the way I wanted them to, and that was Aster and XRP. Everything else sucked. And so I went ham on this XRP on my Bybit account, and this was a really nice win for me, but we did get a full week-to-date leap on that. And that was like the only crypto who really did its full week-to-date VWAP leap. Just from trading with VWAPs and Leapfrog for a long time, I've noticed that Ripple tends to undulate around its VWAPs very well. So like whenever I opt to trade a handful of coins at the same time, or like try to catch a weekly or bullish or bearish leap on a coin, I'll usually throw a Ripple trade in there too. I don't know if that means like Ripple is like super manipulated and is always just going in between the VWAPs and stuff or whatever, but just something to take note that Ripple kind of has the volatility that we like, where you do get those weekly tests of the VWAPs. Looking at macro Ripple though, What are we looking like on the macro here? You know, we're definitely plugging, you know, we're hitting all-time highs going into that new quarter. And then we started slowing down. The momentum on the monthly is reducing despite the price increasing. Vincent Olaya says, why do you guys use Bybit? To me, they're not transparent. They're transparent to me, man. They never screwed me on an affiliate payout. Their orders, the order books are clean. I can adjust my stop loss on the chart. Placing orders is easy. I mean, it's the best trading experience you could ask for, in my opinion. I mean, I'm also just used to it. I've been trading on Bybit for years and years. So I've got a good relationship with them. I know that they experienced a hack like at the start of the year, but they demonstrated good business. They demonstrated that they're a good business by the way they handled that hack. So if you guys do have your Palau ID or you're from outside the US and you want to trade on Bybit, if you go to empowertraders.com, I have a affiliate link on there. And I'm happy to hop on a call if you guys are, you know, if you guys want to go over that platform, you want a one-on-one session on how to use Bybit or something, I'm happy to help you. So, you know, Ripple was looking a little concerning on the macro. Looking at SUI here, these cryptos, man, it's just not, like when I look at SUI, now that we're under the monthly VWAP here, it's like, man, do we need to go back to last year's Q3 VWAP or something, or who knows, man? Like going into Q4 though, it seems like we're going to be down here at the previous year's Q4 VWAP, kind of just stuck in the range. We're kind of just trapped for now, guys. Not gonna lie, that's how it feels. Looking at ADA, weekly waves turning down. ADA is just, look at this trash, man. Fartcoin just dying. Fartcoin under that lifetime VWAP, getting kind of lifetime bearish down here. You know, like once you're under this VWAP, it is good value. I mean, Fartcoin's certainly cheap, but there's a chance that Fartcoin's narrative has passed, that the fart has dissipated. And so would I touch Fartcoin currently? Not really. Like I need to see some strength over its VWAPs again. I'm not trying to save Fartcoin. I would treat it like a momentum play if it started breaking out over its VWAPs again, but that's just not the case. Julia Wynn says a 4-hour blood diamond on Bitcoin. So let's take a look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour. Oh yeah, we're seeing a big blob. In fact, the entire monthly money flow wave that we've seen since the start of the month. Look here on the 4-hour. So this money flow wave I'm looking at that started at the beginning of the month is now dead. So the money flow is now red here on the 4-hour. We are under the monthly VWAP, under a declining 5-day MA. We're trying to catch that bullish week-to-date leapfrog, but it's not working out. It's sketchier than most weeks. It's not playing out the way we usually expect right out the gate of the new session. Little bit of whipsaw, and you know, oscillators are a little bit weak in an environment like this on the smaller time frames. It's a range trader's paradise. There was one chart people were showing, I think it was SUI. But yeah, I mean, look at, when you scrunch this up, look at that whipsaw going on. So it's a very inhospitable period of time to be trading in. If you're not making money in this, just stop. Just stop trading. because by the time you see momentum building in a case that this can go up, it's at the top of the range and it's going down again. So not the best time for inexperienced traders or traders who don't have their risk management in check. It's a good thing I'm a cool cat with 9 lives, because I would have been wrecked. Black Sea says the fart has been blown away. The hot gas has evaporated. Yeah, man. Fartcoin, it ain't what it used to be, man. I talked about this in prior streams, but the volatility on Fart, although it is still immense, it's just nothing compared to what we were dealing with at the start of the year. You know, this is crazy volatility. 92% down, and then look at this move to the upside. Almost 700%. So that's the volatility of a new hot coin, whereas now Fartcoin's kind of probably ranging more. It's probably a little more range bound, keeping in the middle of this range. So it's kind of lost that generational YOLO trade status to me. Kind of a late stream here tonight. Not even that much to go over other than just more depression, more sadness. I was hoping to wake up to some bullish weekly leaps and some 5-day MA trends getting defied, but sadly that is not the case. 2 coins that I'm looking at are the China coins. So since Aster's popping off, Binance, I've been looking at that coin. Same with Tron. We use Tron to pay our employees. But Tron had an initial nice little resurgence. Like initially, it had this really great move back toward the direction of its previous week today. But since then, it's also just been a big disappointment. And let's take a look at BNB. Julia's in the chat. She's my little doomsayer in the chat. ETH just broke down. We'll have to take a look at ETH here in a sec, but BNB, like, despite BNB being a little bit in a different position as most cryptos with this kind of ascending 5MA, even with that, still having a hard time here, man. Still looking like it's dumping down to one of these deeper VWAPs. BNB actually might have an insane short. Think about it, guys. We're going into a new quarter here. October 1. You know, you're planning, obviously the best short entries would be up at the highs if we could somehow work our way up there before the new quarterly session, or like a week or two into the quarterly session. But there's a massive cool off back down to BNB's Q3 VWAP here, brooding. So this chart is very overextended. I'm not really bullish on BNB going into next quarter, even though it could go up one more time. That would only make an even juicier short entry back to like one of these healthy retracement levels here. Let's take a look at ETH. You said ETH was getting shit on. All right, so ETH currently doing moves that we did not think were possible just a few days ago. As soon as we start getting closes under the monthly VWAP, it's only like a matter of hours before we are testing the Q3 VWAP, and this move on ETH was insane, like a full 10% dump. Cole in the chat asked a good question. He said, moments like this when everything is on a knife's edge, how do you not take trades at this current moment? That's a good question, man. the intuition of a trader to not take the trade often goes overlooked. But it should be easy to know when not to take a trade, because you should have a system. You should have a playbook, a sense of timing around when your trades work the most. Now, for me, my trades work the best when we get a new, let's say we get a new weekly session, and then we start hunting. Typically, I would look for longs back up towards the previous week to date VWAP, and I'm looking for liquidity sweeps. I'm looking for, you could see here, like this low was tagged, and so that made this wick here an attractive level to catch. So, this week it didn't really pan out that well. We've been holding under the week to date VWAP all week on ETH, so nothing good really ever came of that idea. But the fact that this hasn't gone well tells me that, this is a shitty week. And so it's telling me not to trade. And also, there was trading done in here. I entered a long in this wick. It got stopped out, and I'm not going to keep chasing that. So, like when it's not going by your playbook, you wait for next week. Look at the environment. We're in a strong 5-day downtrend, which is opposing the weekly leap idea. So you need some sort of guardrails with your, it's not enough to just have good TA. You need to have a trading strategy. Like, there needs to be a daily drawdown limit. Like, I'm only allowed to lose X amount or X percent of the account in a single day before I have to stop. Knowing when not to trade is very important. I could certainly try to short here and I could just come up with some idea like, oh, maybe we're going down to this Q2 VWAP and just hop in short. But the reason why I wouldn't do that is because this is a terrible entry for that. There's a better entry for that if there's if we came up and retested the month to date VWAP and then looked bearish, then I would consider a short like that. So when I'm looking for trades, I'm looking to get an advantageous position, not just ride some flavor of the month stuff. So you got to know the environment. You got to try and get good value for the ideas. It's one thing to have a target that you're confident in, but you also need to get that entry that you deserve. Risk management is key. And also trust your gut to an extent if things aren't feeling right. This wasn't a normal week of price action for Ethereum, for instance. Like, never once coming over the week to date VWAP here. Something weird is going on here. There's something that is bigger than the weekly leap pulling ETH down. And what would that be? You start questioning your overall presuppositions about the market. When the medium term things aren't working out, maybe there's bigger time frame things happening. Maybe we need to cool off to the last quarter's VWAP. Maybe since we're riding into Q4, maybe we want to be down here at last year's Q4 VWAP as that begins. So if one of these bigger VWAP leapfrogs is coming through, that does make sense that a weekly leapfrog would get pooped on. Trap Sniper says your mind, body, and spirit must be aligned. That is true, but it's also not that mysterious. It's not that ethereal or abstract. When it comes to giving new traders advice, just listen to everything I said about the environment, getting the absolute best position for your ideas. Samuel S. says, watching from Prague Hotel, just woke up. Are we in a bear market? I actually think that there's a chance that we could be about to, maybe not a long lasting one, but a bear market that you know, we end Q3 bearish, and then Q4 starts off bearish but then scoops up. Right now the 5-day SMA trend suggests that, and it has been suggesting that since back here, since September 21, like right around this date. You start seeing that 5MA going flat, and then next thing you know, it's down. Now we're really in a strong downtrend. Every time it comes up to this level right here, that's a scary moment for the bulls, man. Yes, sirree. Yeah, kind of a late stream. I'm gonna cut it short tonight, guys, because it's already late. But just know that personally, I got a little bit sketched out on these bullish weekly leaps this week, even though I was able to basically revenge trade the losses from my breakout account by catching this low here on my main account. You guys have seen that I'm out of all positions. Like once we came up to this declining 5MA, I took profits, man. So right now I'm just a market spectator. I honestly am quite bearish. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin just started moving down lower, because right now look, it's confirming the month-to-date VWAP as resistance, and we're in a 5-day downtrend, and the weekly leap feels weak this week. That's a tongue twister. But God bless you guys. I'll be back on Sunday, hopefully at regular stream time. Thanks for putting up with me, and I'll catch you guys again soon. Smash the like.